Proceedings will now come to order. Would you push your check-in on your little iPad? You have to put Bill Rowe excused, Gabbard excused, or does that just stay off? They all on? Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Supervisor Locke with the invocation.
We come to you tonight asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this new year. Help us to engage in meaningful discussions, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of our communities. Amen.
Amen. We'll stay standing for a moment of silence for Jeanette Supervisor Dykoff, who has passed away. Thank you. Supervisor Robel.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move for the adoption of this evening's agenda.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on anything on the agenda this evening? Now is your chance to talk. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on anything on the agenda this evening? Now is your chance. Yes.
Jeff Lemish, 2230 Plymouth Street, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Impact Motorsports racetrack involvement. I'm just here to answer any questions if you have any regarding the racetrack.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board on anything on the agenda this evening? Okay, that portion of the meeting will be closed. Communications and petitions from the clerk.
You have a few resolutions from other counties tonight. The first one comes from Brown County. It's a resolution in support of changes to the state statutes regarding protective occupation participant status of county correction officers, referred to the Legislative Committee and the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee. A resolution from Dunn County seeking creation of a new nonpartisan procedure for the preparation of legislative and congressional redistricting plans, referred to the Legislative Committee. Then a few resolutions from Waushara County. The first one is in opposition to Senate Bill 349 and Assembly Bill 476, limiting local control of non-metallic mining operations, referred to Legislative Committee. Another one from Waushara County, a resolution supporting Assembly Bill 429, requirements for marriage officiants, referred to Legislative. Waushara County, resolution in support of Assembly Bill 418, and looks like the amendment to that, number 2, and Assembly Bill 418 regarding adjusting recount fee structure, referred to Legislative Committee. And that's all.
Okay. Report, Supervisor Wingen.
No.
Reports from committees, commissions, and boards. Supervisor Singstock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to compliment Chuck for saving the Winnebago County taxpayers over $219,000 for bringing the financial software upgrade project in under budget.
Supervisor Widener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to comment just for a few minutes on an issue we've got. Unfortunately, because of the weather, we missed our horticulturalist Kim Miller's presentation last time. I understand she did make a presentation to the town's group, which is really good. And I had hoped that we could take that, her presentation, and use that as a catalyst for addressing this issue. And we may have some programs going within Winnebago County, but I know of nothing that's going on as a county-wide basis or a county board basis. If you had read the paper over the last couple of weeks, there's an article about Milwaukee addressing this same issue, in which they're using chemical inoculations. They've been using it for 4 years, have claimed that they've lost no trees. Of course, it's still kind of early to say that. But they are saying also that they can keep doing that indefinitely by inoculating the trees, that they can keep them not lose them whatsoever. Madison is doing a similar thing, except they're using a combination of both that and the trees, and cutting down the trees. Now, this is very expensive, but it's very expensive to do nothing. So we're going to have Kim will be making a presentation at some point. I'm not sure if she's been scheduled yet, but I hope when she comes in, because we need to get ahead of this problem. I'm kind of afraid we might be putting our heads in the sand and just letting it happen. And if we do that, it's going to be a worse problem we got now. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Barker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you all for the cards and calls I had while I was off with my broken ankle. It's good to be back. The cast comes off February 10th, and then I thought I'd try out for the Packers, so we'll see how that goes.
Supervisor Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just would like to let the board know that there will be a legislative committee meeting on January 27th. The information went out in the mail, so we'll see you there.
Supervisor Ellis.
Just want to let you know that there's a newsletter that comes out of Parkview Health Center. I hope you guys, everybody enjoys it.
Supervisor Hamlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was at a DOT meeting this afternoon, and we have good news to report. They will start the construction of the big interchange of 41 U.S. Highway 441 and Highway 10. Work will start this summer.
Thank you. Approval of proceedings from December 17th, 2013 meeting.
Also moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any additions or corrections? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Carried. County Executives Report.
I'm going to depart from my normal pattern and state that you're going to receive presentations tonight on the UW Fox Valley roof replacement and a series of road projects on County Y, Z, and C, and that while you won't be voting on those items tonight, that I would urge you to pay close attention to the presentation and that they're all worthy of support. I will, however, caution the board that you will be receiving the 5-year capital plan soon. And while all the projects in the 5-year capital plan are certainly worthy projects, that if we approve everything that's included in that plan for the next couple of years, that our level of debt will rise, and ultimately, not right away, but ultimately the level of debt service would have to rise. So what I put in the capital plan are all projects that I think should be presented to the board, but that shouldn't imply that everything in that capital plan that I'm urging you to support it in that time frame. And that's all I have for a report tonight. I have some appointments, I believe.
Local Emergency Planning Commissioner John Zimmer.
Yes. There's appointment of John Nichols to the Grievance Review Board.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
An appointment of John Zimmer from the Oshkosh Fire Department to the Local Emergency Planning Commission.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And the appointment of Frank Frisetto to the Winnebago County Housing Authority.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Supervisor Gabbert and Supervisor Rowe have been asked to be excused tonight. I would like to ask for your appointment of, for Supervisor District 6, Bradley Keel. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Keel, would you come up? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Bradley Keel,
I, Brady Keel,
having been appointed to the office of County Board Supervisor,
having been appointed to the office of County Board Supervisor,
District 6,
District 6,
swear that I will support the Constitution
swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Okay. I'll have you sign this here. Okay, then just go right in the corner over there. Yep. At this time, I'd like to ask Jim Egan to come forward. He's going to be giving us a report. He's the campus dean or assistant campus dean for administration and finance, UW Fox Valley. He's going to give a report on the roof replacement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Jim Egan with the University of Wisconsin Fox Valley. Come to talk with you about a roof. It turns out that at UW Fox Valley we have 69 roof surfaces, and over the years we've been able to address many of them, repairs and replacements. But we come before you tonight to describe a project that will involve about 17 roof areas, and because of their size, puts us in the category of a major capital project. I've had the opportunity to visit with the Facilities and Property Management Committee and the Personnel and Finance Committee earlier this month, and appreciated that opportunity and the things that I learned from those conversations. But I want to talk with the rest of you about the project. With the support of our trustees, we identified the need for a major roof repair and maintenance project and entered this as a CIP in 2011 for this 2014 year. Outagamie County, our partner at the campus, approved its 50% share of the project budget in November of 2013. Our budget request is for $295,000 per county for the $590,000 project. Today, the age of the roofs involved in this project range from 18 years old to 52 years old, with an average age over 27 years old of roofing. You may have received in your packets a diagram of the campus, and we've tried to identify the areas that will be addressed. An engineering consultant was hired in 2013 to survey the campus roof conditions and create design drawings to address the areas of concern. The document provides detailed information about the current conditions and basic remediation instructions. The proposed project includes 17 roof areas, about 27% of the total roof area of the campus. By combining several areas into one project, we expect cost savings from needing only one mobilization effort rather than several, and the economy of scale with such a large project makes it attractive to many competing contractors. In fact, on January 7, a pre-bid conference was held on campus, and 15 contractors attended to visit the project site as they prepared to make their bid to do the work. In fact, bids are due in 2 days, on January 23rd. The project time frame is mid-May to mid-August, pending funding appropriation. So until this board takes its action, I hope next month, the project will be in abeyance until that approval. This certainly is a significant, but I hope you'll agree, a necessary investment to ensure the structure and integrity of the buildings at the campus. I'd be happy to entertain any questions you might have now or between now and our meeting next month.
Supervisor Konitsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, Mr. Egan, what did you use for that 52-year-old roof? How is that different than the other ones? That's the one you should follow.
Sure, that's a good roof. It's the 1960 asphalt with impregnated gravel type of structure, but it's being addressed now because of its failing condition. We have replaced roof surfaces. We have replaced roof surfaces like that over the years, and this is the last area to be addressed. It's actually a relatively small area of roof to be addressed at this time.
Supervisor Olson.
Thank you. Just a quick question on this drawing here. I'm assuming that the shaded ones are the first that are going to be replaced?
Yes, that is correct. The shaded areas. Thank you.
Supervisor Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will the request for bonding be the bid that is accepted, or will it be the estimated amount of $595,000?
We'll see where the costs come in, for sure. I would like to be able to include some contingency for unexpected conditions, but
Sure.
Our hope is that in a couple of days we expect that we will have a much better idea of what the actual cost will be.
And your request to the board will reflect that cost?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Thank you. Very, very good process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions there. At this time, I'd like to ask Ernie Winters, he's the County Highway Commissioner, to come forward. He'll be giving us a report on County Highway Y, Z, and C.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening. I put a little handout on everyone's desk that I'm not going to read it word for word, but it should allow you to follow along a little bit and get the gist of what I'm asking for, presenting tonight and asking for next month. We would like to bring forth 3 county highway mill and pave projects. This is our typical pavement maintenance program that we do each year that helps us keep up on the condition of all the county roads. These 3 projects were identified in the 2014 capital plan for this process, and each year we inspect these roads, all of our roads, to ascertain their condition and determine what kind of shape they're in and if it's reasonable to do a project or if they can be held off. The 3 roads are C, Y, and Z. The average traffic on C is about 300 to 400 cars a day, and that was last resurfaced in '86. On Y, it's about 1,000 to 1,200 vehicles a day, and that was resurfaced in '90. And then Z has about 400 to 500 per day and was last resurfaced in '75. All of these are very good projects for a milling and paving process at this point. I've attached a couple of pages on the back that can illustrate the PASER method that we use for determining the road conditions. The first page, the third page in, is just a little picture that shows the ratings and then has a picture of road conditions. And the 4th page is a little graph that shows the deterioration in terms of rating as the pavements age. There's also some narrative on there if you care to read it. It's pretty much a statewide system for reviewing your road asphalt pavements and grading them. All these pavement sections we're asking for this year are showing signs of deterioration. There's extensive cracking on all the pavements, lateral and transverse. There's some rutting in some areas. For instance, C is getting to be in pretty tough shape, even though it is a pretty short stretch. It gets quite a bit of heavy traffic. And when you see the rutting, the waviness in the roadway, that sometimes indicates a base problem. All three of these roads are past the point where just simple crack filling or chip sealing would provide any real value. We need to do a mill and pave. They are good candidates for that process. Each year when we do this work, we include reshouldering or installing paved shoulder. We'll look at these pavements again this year to see if paved shoulder will work in these situations. Some cases we do have enough room without buying right away. Some cases we don't. Paved shoulder helps extend the life by keeping vehicles and trucks on the paved area and not running off the edge. And it also gives a 2 or 3 foot section for pedestrians and bicyclists to keep them out of the travel lane. New pavement markings, new beam guard where it's appropriate, signing, all of those things are looked at and included when we do these projects. We also address the drainage on these roads beforehand. Typically we go in the year before and replace culverts, and then let the site settle out for a year so we don't have the deflection in the new pavement. This can add 15 to 20 years of useful life to these roads. Traffic volumes and weights and all of those have an impact on asphalt pavement. The drainage has a big impact on it, how well the base drains, how well the road itself drains. Water in the winter, especially a winter like we're having now, plus all the salt we're pounding on them right now, doesn't help it any, makes it worse over time. And I just want to finish by saying in my short tenure, quite short, 2 years, the county board has been very, very supportive of these types of projects, and you made the decision probably many years ago that this is worthwhile work to have good roads and to keep our transportation system viable and a good part of the economic cycle in the region. So I'll be back in February if the board approves it to ask for funding for these projects. Thank you. Can I ask her
Supervisor
any
Rasmussen.
questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to back up a little bit, I know I talked about this a while back, and we've got some new members just about this program. Prior to about 8 years ago, approximately 8 years ago, the county process there was to patch and seal coat, and eventually that caught up. There was never enough money in the budget. Our previous commissioner, John Hayes, got this program going with the support of the executive and the board, and it's been pretty aggressive since then to get caught up. And my question would be, do you feel that we're caught up now to where we should be and that this will level off this program a little bit?
I think generally speaking, we're in good condition. I think the county made a lot of progress the last few years, and we're continuing to address those greater needs. We should, over time, come to the point where we have proportionately less of this type of work to do. So if that's what you're asking, we should get there eventually. Obviously, every year we have candidates to do, but as we go through the cycle, and we get 20, 25 years out of each new pavement, we are catching up on that quality and that improvement. So it is working well.
Supervisor Eisen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Winters, is there any cost sharing available through the state? I know there are many projects that we have that we're able to apply for grants that will help to defer some of the expense to the county taxpayers. Are there any any programs that are available for these projects?
There is. The County Highway Improvement Program called CHIP is available every 2 years, and I did apply for funding on County Highway Z. The problem and the reason that I've not included that in here is because I don't know yet if I have it. It's possible we won't get it. We have applied, however. there are programs available for this type of work, and we do apply aggressively when the money's available.
That would mitigate any expense that we authorize if it comes through.
It wouldn't mitigate the whole amount. It would be probably in the neighborhood of $100,000 to $150,000. It would support the project. It wouldn't mitigate all the expense.
No other programs available for the other roads?
Not for these three, no. We do have a variety of other funding mechanisms that are currently being used on other projects, but not on these three.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a comment and a couple of questions. The first comment would be following up on Supervisor Rasmussen's comment was when John Hayes was here, I always said that he thought he had died and gone to heaven because he never had one of these projects turned down. So I assume that Supervisor Winters feels the same way.
You've been very supportive.
Okay, the question I have is at the PNF meeting, you had commented you were coming in early because you'd be coming back later this year. Is there some other project that you're planning on doing this year?
Well, yes. These are our three, what I would call maintenance projects, although they are improvements and we do bond for these costs. These are regular maintenance projects we try to do every year. We do have some improvement projects coming. County Trunk Highway T is scheduled to be reconstructed this year. The intersection of County I and County N is scheduled to be reconstructed, and of course those are dependent upon funding from the county board. So I kind of wanted to get a jump on this and get this taken care of. I'm not quite at the point yet where I'm ready to bring those other projects back, but I will be shortly.
I thought we did T already. Is that additional work with T?
It's different. It's just different along the corridor. We did a piece of that corridor. Okay. Now we're doing another piece.
Okay. Okay. Last question I have is I don't understand. I don't know what 300 to 400, 1,000 to 1,200 are. Those busy roads? Are they intermediate roads or what?
C is not terribly busy in terms of volume, but it has quite a bit of heavy traffic on it, and it's showing the signs of that. 1,200 cars a day for a county road is moderate. On Y is fairly busy, and again with quite a bit of heavy traffic. Z is relatively low volume, 300-400 is, and not a whole lot of trucking, so that's on the lower end.
Thank you.
Supervisor Knitsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A short time ago, I had Mr. Winters over. I had a project at the edge of my district. I want to tell you, the professionalism, the manner, and the prompt reply to our situation over there, we were so thankful for that, and I want to publicly thank you for that, and let the board members know that you have a good man here.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
And if we could all hope for a little less snow and cold, it would be good.
Supervisor Turner, I'm sorry, you got one more.
Just one more quick question. I noticed that the lengths of these repairs are quite a bit different. A quarter of a mile we pay $300,000 for, a half a mile we pay $450,000 for, and 3.3 miles we pay $800,000 for. And I'm sure that's probably has something to do with what you're actually doing to the road. But if you could explain that a little bit.
Sure. These are. First of all, let me explain these mill and pave projects. We don't spend a lot of time on designing them. We take a quick look, we put some numbers together fairly quickly, and that usually proves out to be fairly accurate. I would expect all of these would be under these numbers. Engineered jobs, design jobs, we'll have construction numbers on, and then we'll get bid numbers. So the numbers are usually much tighter. The reason for the disparity is it's the scope of the work. C, for instance, we expect to have to do some excavation on C because there is some rutting. We may pulverize that road instead of milling it, which is a different process and costs a little more. And we may pave a thicker asphalt on C. Same thing goes for Y. Y is a good candidate for paved shoulder. We're going to look hard at that, and there also is some deflection and some excavation spots on Y we want to address. Z seems to be a little bit more of a straightforward mill and pave like we ordinarily do without a lot of extra work.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Report number 1, Nate Potratz, Town of Amro, a mandatory ordinance number 0101-2014, rezoning to R1 and A2 for tax parcel number 016-0313. Supervisor Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move for the acceptance of report number 1.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Chairman, I would move for the adoption of a mandatory ordinance number 1.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the mandatory ordinance number 1. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 290-1214, Assembly Bill 444 and Senate Bill 355, fees imposed on disposal of solid waste. Supervisor Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move for the adoption of resolution number 290-12014.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 291-12014, opposed Senate Bill 349 and companion Assembly Bill 476. Supervisor Brennan.
I would move for resolution number 291-12014.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 219-12014, commendation for Gene Mahay. Supervisor Rasmussen.
I move for approval of resolution 292-12014.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 293-12014, disallow claim of Creeley Camp Trucking, incident date 11/11/2013. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Move for approval of 293-12014.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 294-12014, disallow claim of attorney Scott D. Metz on behalf of Mark Melick. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Move for approval of resolution number 294-12014.
Been moved and seconded. Supervisor Farley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My review of this claim against the county indicates to me that there are serious concerns in regard to the process that's mentioned in the document. Of the many I've seen over these many years, this is of noted seriousness, in my opinion. I'm wondering, is there an investigation pending on this by Winnebago County?
Corporation Counsel Bodner, can you answer him?
Mr. Farry, all the claims are turned over to the claims adjuster for the insurance company. So they investigate it, and if the county board denies the claims, then they work with the plaintiff to see if some type of settlement can be reached. If the county's turns out that the county's probably in the wrong, some of these are not necessarily based upon whether the county did something wrong or not. There could be an issue as to what the amount of money that's being claimed. In this case, the issue is really not one of the issues is not really whether the county is liable under the claims statute, but whether this is a workers' comp claim, which takes it into a different sphere altogether. So, for example, if I was working and the light fell on me and, split my head open, I needed stitches, and I wasn't, I missed work or I couldn't work anymore, puts in a workers' comp claim category. It's not a claim that I can necessarily bring against the county for damages. So
I think my question was more a reference, is there any procedures being taken within this department to correct this so it don't happen again?
That's something I can't answer. You'd have to address that to Mr. Robbie.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Resolution 295, pardon? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? One opposition. Chuck. Resolution number 295-12014, approve values of tax-deeded improved property. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Move for approval, Resolution 295-12014.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Carried. Resolution 296-12014, approve values of tax-deeded properties. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Move for approval, Resolution number 296-12014.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Carried. Resolution number 297-12014, amend Winnebago County General Code, Section 1924, Parent 11B and D to include a 3-county annual boat landing and trailer parking permit at county-owned boat launches. Supervisor Konitsky.
Mr. Chairman, I move for ordinance 297-12014. I believe Mr. Way and Mr. Fiery had talked about the addition on line 23. Mr. Farley wants to add the word option after addition. Addition. Will sell as an addition option to the permit. Additional option to the permit program, so on. He thinks it'll separate the two and have that under split manner.
Well, there was no second to whatever you were doing. So, Supervisor Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll wait for the second for his motion. The primary motion, there was no second?
There wasn't. Just now there is, yes. Oh, was there? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I thank Mr. Konitsky for his comments. I was going to offer a friendly amendment to add the word on line 23, option. Would you like me to be specific about that as to how it should read, in my opinion? 3 counties will sell as an option in addition to the permit programs already established within each of the 3 counties. I think that clarifies the sentence, makes it quite clear that a resident of Winnebago County will have the option to buy the county permit sold for this county, or you'll have the option to buy the tri-county permit, which would be valid in 3 counties. I just want to clarify that by adding that word.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
Okay. So we'll just do that as a correction? Okay, so we just did that as a correction.
Okay, however you'd like to do it.
Okay. Supervisor Olson.
Thank you. Just a quick question for those of you who put this together. Is this program, does this mean that you have to buy both of the permits? Or is it that if you buy a tri-county permit, you won't have to buy a permit for the county you live in? I'm a little confused.
Rob?
It's a standalone permit. It's, as Supervisor Fari had mentioned, it's a option and a permit that will allow for access to the boat landings, in the three counties for Lake Winnebago only. It does not allow for access to any of the inland lakes that our other permits offer. If the boater so desires, they would have to purchase our $25 permit that offers access to the inland lakes plus the 3 boat landings we have on Lake Winnebago and exclude the other counties' boat landings. So it's separate from the 2.
So they would pay that fee, and then if they wanted to go to Lake Udamore or one of the other lakes, they'd have to pay an additional fee?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So like, explain more what the additional fee for, like what kind of lakes are you going to charge the additional fee on?
Well, they would have to decide if it's their desire to, if they're pretty much going to stick on Lake Winnebago, this is where they would want the 3-county permit. And if they were more of a boater in Winnebago County, the inland lakes, and if they only wanted to gain access to some of the boat landings that we offered, Silent Point, Black Wolf, and Oshkosh, if they want just those boat landings, then they would purchase our regular $25 permit. So again, it's be somebody who akin to a tournament boater who only fishes on Lake Winnebago, where that would be an attraction to them, so they don't have to get 3 different permits.
So if they would launch, let's say in Fond du Lac, boat up Winnebago and come down into Lake Udamore, that would be okay?
They'd have to have the extra permit then. That would not allow them to access our boat landings.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I don't understand it yet, but so be it. Supervisor Norton.
To pay how many fees are you paying?
Supervisor.
My question pretty much answered, but I will want to add that this, the Parks Committee was kind of skeptical, and I guess we are willing to go for a year because we want to see how much this impacts, what kind of revenue it gets. But it's only a year experiment, and if it does not work out very well, I'm sure that we won't bring it back.
Supervisor Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a question. Is there a reason why Outagamie County isn't participating in this? Do they not have any boat launches on Lake Winnebago, or do they just not want to?
No, they don't.
Okay. They don't?
They have a boat landing on, that I'm aware of at least, they have one boat landing, I think, inland, but not on Winnebago.
Thank you.
Supervisor Turner.
There's one question on the $50 fee for all 3 counties. If Winnebago County sells a $50 pass or whatever, do they keep all that, or is that split up between the 3 counties and vice versa? Obviously with the other ones.
No, the seller keeps the entire amount.
Supervisor Smith.
Mr. Hardy had asked the same question I was going to ask, so it's been answered.
Supervisor Wernke.
I just don't understand why you're doing this. Why can't you just keep it within the county and let the other counties take care of their own boat landings like we always have? To separate it from Lake Winnebago to Lake Butamore, and it's all in Winnebago County, it just seems kind of ridiculous that you're doing this. Why don't you just keep it within your own county?
Well, it was intended to accommodate the desire of boaters that have approached not only us, but the Calumet and Fond du Lac County, and it's been going on for some time. We've studied it and even did a survey back 10 years ago, and it was clear that it was a desire of boaters. We just did not accommodate it at that time because of our difference in how we administer the program. And apparently, as I indicated in the resolution, that desire is still there through surveys, recent surveys that would indicate that it would accommodate boaters, an added amenity like this. So it's done purely as a service item for boaters.
Yeah, but if you go to a lot of other counties, for instance, if you go to Door County, you pay their fee. Just like if anybody else from another county comes here, they got to pay our fee, and they just pay a daily fee anyways. It's just kind of ridiculous. You know, you're trying to spread this out, and somebody's going to lose on it. Take care of your own stuff. That's the way I think about it.
Supervisor Schneider.
My question is more of logistics. Let's say I'm a resident of Fond du Lac County and I buy the $50 sticker, come up and launch at Asylum Bay, and go a little south and cut into the channel and try to go to Lake Butimore. What, are we going to have boat police there checking to make sure that I've got the right sticker on my trailer? I mean, to me, it's logistically impossible to police and monitor this.
Right. It's predicated on the vehicle that's towing the trailer. If somebody travels by boat into the river or the upland lakes, this doesn't apply. Again, it's for trailer parking at the boat landings.
See, but we're the only ones that do the car and not the trailer, right?
Correct, and this is where we differ from what was taking place 10 years ago when we tried to do this. The two counties are looking to make this a special sticker where they apply it instead of their trailer as they do for the rest of their program. This would be a special one that would go on their windshield just like ours.
Supervisor Farley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rob, if I might clarify something, and I'll refer to the current process and ordinance that we have. We charge $25 for a permit, and that permit allows you access to the lakes within Winnebago County using a county boat landing. Am I correct?
Correct.
So if we approve this, now we're saying you need a permit for the Lake Winnebago and a separate permit for Lake Poygan? Or
Only
Lake Butimore?
It's only if you so choose to go into the inland lakes. If you're a fisherman who's primarily, or boater primarily on Lake Winnebago, again, I'll use the tournament scenario where that is your only interest. This is where that would service your interest, and only if you're going into the inland lakes would you maintain, like we offer, that $25 sticker.
Let me phrase it differently. Let's say, and I don't do boating and all that stuff, but let's say I launch a boat using a county boat launch and fish in Winnebago in the morning. And then I put my boat back in the trailer and I trailer it all the way to the county boat launch in Butimore. I couldn't use the same sticker.
Correct.
I have to use two separate stickers now?
Correct.
At $25 a piece.
That is correct. If you originally bought the $50 sticker, and I would think that you're going to possibly use two boat landings at least outside our county for that Lake Winnebago 3-county boat landing sticker. Again, that excludes you from going inland. But if you choose to go inland, you would buy our other sticker or go with a daily pass.
Okay, I see that as, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that at all in reading this, so I got a lot of concerns about that. Basically what we're doing is we're doubling the cost for our fishermen in this county that happen to use two different lakes in the same day.
Where does my tax money from when I buy a boat come into this that I pay to the DNR? I mean, I pay a boat launching fee for this DNR when I buy the boat
Sure.
and everything. Where does that money go from all, so how does that compare with all the different counties?
Well, they administer that through their grant program, which is typically a 50-50 cost sharing, and that's what's helped maintain our seawalls and docks and dredging and so forth. So that's totally separate from this.
Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rob, I see on that this money is going to a program called Weigh In on the Winnebago, and that addresses algae blooms, polluted runoff, and invasive species. And I guess I'm all in favor of user fees when they are applicable, but to charge fishermen with boats to take care of polluted runoff, I guess I don't understand that, because we all contributed to that. Maybe you could explain a little bit what this program is. And then I'll follow up with the next question here. If people are choosing to buy this permit, then doesn't that take away from the revenue that is generated now to help maintain and reinvest into those boat launches? If you could answer those.
Well, first off, the Weigh In on Winnebago Waterways is a outreach program that is conducted through a consortium of entities such as the Extension, East Central, DNR.
Is this part of your water thing?
And they've conducted surveys, and that's a lot of their program. What they've found are such needs as there's needed attention for invasive species, for some of this management of government with better coordination and so forth. So that's separate. There is no money from this going into that program. That's totally separate. That only revealed that that desire to have the service is still out there as part of their survey process. So no money is going towards that program. What we do with this money is goes towards the seawalls, the docks, and the dredging.
But that's what the boat launching fee goes for, correct? I mean,
Correct.
That's what that is for, was to be used for that, not for you to expand the park or do any other things with it. It was for the boat launches.
Mm-hmm. And it does. We have that as a segregated.
Where is all this coming in about the invasive species and everything? And I guess I'm missing something somewhere. Supervisor Smith.
Yeah, I know some people that have larger boats, and they strictly use Lake Winnebago, but they launch from different locations, which could be Calumet, Fond du Lac, or Winnebago County. And I believe that people in that situation that are primarily Winnebago users, but would launch from different places, are the people that are most interested in this type of permit, as compared to somebody that's going to be fishing on the smaller lakes around the area. So I don't think it's going to hurt the boat launch or fees for Winnebago County residents that primarily fish in Winnebago County.
Supervisor Warnke.
Well, let me give you one example of why you shouldn't segregate this from Butamore and Winnebago. I fished since I was a little kid, and I know a lot of people that do fish. And when you fish on Winnebago, you play the wind. The wind is a big thing out in Winnebago. So if you've got an east wind, I mean, there's an old saying, when the wind's in the east, the fish bite least. So what happens is a lot of people will go out to Butamore where the wind is not so bad. So, you know, it's just ridiculous that you're going to be charging another fee for them to launch out at Butamore, and it just doesn't make sense. And another thing is that a lot of times, especially in the spring, the fish are running more out by the 41 bridge in that area because they're coming through that area. So you're going to be having people, a lot of these people mostly fish on Winnebago, but they fish on Butamore too. And that's one of the hottest spots around is out by Butamore. And when they calm down there, then they go out to Winnebago. So why are you charging the people of Winnebago County another fee just because they're going to launch out at Butamore. It's ridiculous.
Supervisor Hardy.
I guess I need a clarification here, because I understood this to mean that there was no change to the existing $25 resident permit, so that I, as a Winnebago County resident, I can get the $25 permit and I can launch into Butamore, or I can launch into Winnebago, correct, with that $25 permit?
Correct. These are totally standalone permits.
So only if I plan on launching out of Fond du Lac County or Calumet County, that's the point where I might want to consider this extra permit. Is that right?
Correct.
So if I'm just a Winnebago County launcher, right, my $25 permit is sufficient.
Yeah, it will not only carry you through the 3 boat landings on Winnebago County, but it will take you into the inland lakes.
So that, okay, so is that?
Correct. Okay. They're totally separate. They're not dependent on each other.
So the existing $25 permit remains on the books and an option for fishers, right?
An option is.
Thank you.
Mentioned. Sure.
Supervisor Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief because I was actually going to say the very same thing as Supervisor Hardy. I think the resolution actually is quite clear. On line 23, I think we did a nice job in regards to adding that amendment in terms of the verbiage as an option in addition to the permit programs already established. In other words, the current permit programs will remain in effect, and if someone wants to continue with the permit as in the past, they would have that option. I think this resolution also does a nice job because it clarifies it, kind of like Supervisor Hardy was referring to further down on lines 43 to 45, where it specifically breaks out the fact that there really are 2 separate permit options. One, the 3-county annual boat landing trailer parking permit, and 2, the current Winnebago County annual boat landing trailer parking permit. So those individuals who would prefer to simply use the trailer parking within the county, whether inland or Winnebago County, would still have that option and only have to pay the $25. It's only if they had the desire to also use the landing trailer parking spots in Calumet or Fond du Lac counties. So I see this as a win-win for everyone, actually. There really is no downside. It simply expands the opportunities for the boaters if they so choose. Thank you.
Supervisor Turner.
Mr. Hardy didn't cover that. I want to ask you. I buy the $50 permit. I can launch in Winnebago, Calumet, Fond du Lac. Can I launch in Butamore with that $50 permit?
No.
See? So then, therefore, if you want to launch in Butamore as well, then you have to buy another $25 permit, so it would cost you $75 total to launch in the 3 counties and in Butamore.
You could go with a daily option if you so choose. That's the $5 daily fee. You have to exclude the inland lakes at all from this. And yes, if you're inclined that you're constantly fishing at Butamore, you might entertain our annual boat launch fee, getting the all-inclusive one. But again, this is separate from that, and yes, you would have to pay to launch at Butamore, separate from this permit.
Thank you.
Supervisor Rasmussen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As confusing as this seems to be with all this discussion tonight with this board, I wonder how confusing it's going to be for the boaters when they have to do this.
I agree. Supervisor Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clarify one of the points that was just made, it is true that if you had the $25 permit and then you wanted to use the boat launch in Calumet or Fond du Lac County, you could purchase the optional $50 permit. However, they would also have the opportunity, and correct me if I'm wrong, to still do the daily permit just as they do now.
Correct.
In which case, once again, this is just an additional option. If they preferred to do it simply as they've been doing over the past years and get a daily permit, that option still exists. But this is clearly a benefit for those individuals that would use those landing trailer parking spots on multiple times over a season. In fact, for those individuals, it would save a fair amount of money. And for those individuals that would not use those parking spaces, but only on an occasional basis, they still retain that option for the daily permit, just as they have in the past. So I think it's a very good resolution and only expands the options for the voters. So I'd urge you to support it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll vote by our little iPad. Vote aye. Okay, first of all, I'd like the clerk to read back Chuck's. Would you read that back? Because that clears up a lot of what was said.
It's on line 23. 3 counties will sell as an option in addition to the permit programs already established within each of the 3 counties.
Correct?
We're going to have to note your vote and then, because we can't punch you in during the vote. So.
That is passed. Resolution 298-12014. Authorize submittal of application for a City of Oshkosh conditional use permit for programming of motorsports events at the Sunnyview Expo Center racetrack. Supervisor Konitsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for Resolution 298-12014.
Been moved and seconded. Supervisor Farley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rob, I have a question for you. The proposal here would extend the time to 11 o'clock from 10:30. Has there been any complaints or anything we should be aware of? I mean, is that going to get a lot of people upset, or?
No complaints were registered this year, and I think only one last year.
Okay, and that was resolved, obviously.
Yeah, it had to do with late night racing, the complaint.
Beyond 11 o'clock?
Beyond 10:30.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Hardy.
Just a clarification, will this conditional use permit application have to go through the City of Oshkosh Common Council for approval?
Rob?
And
Yes.
so will
He's
there
shaking
be,
his head yes.
Yeah. And there'll be an opportunity for public comment at that point?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll vote by machine. Vote aye if you approve. Did you click that little lever? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 299-12014, authorized execution of Exposition Center rental agreement between Winnebago County and Impact Motorsports. Supervisor Konitsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for Resolution 299-12014.
It's been moved and seconded. Supervisor Norton.
Oh.
No. Supervisor Farley.
No, not me, sir.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution 300-12-014, recognize unbudgeted revenue of $135,005 in the Public Health Department's 2013 budget and apply some of the excess revenue to budgeted for travel and other operating expenses. Supervisor Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of Resolution 300-12014. There is a breakdown attached to the resolution that discusses the revenues as well as the offsetting expenses. In addition, approximately $72,000 of this would go into the Health Department fund balance when we close out the books for 2013. I'd move for approval. Thank you.
Then moved and seconded. Okay, we'll vote by our little iPad. Vote aye if you... What if I want to change my vote when I voted? I can just change it, no?
If you confirm.
No.
Okay, then you should be able to just change it. Has to confirm his vote. Very appreciative.
That is passed. Resolution 301-12-014, recognize additional premium revenue in self-funded dental insurance fund and apply part of the excess revenues to additional expenses incurred during 2013. Supervisor Rasmussen.
Move for approval of resolution number 301-12014.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Pardon? Carried. Supervisor Robel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move that we adjourn until February 25th at 6 p.m.
Okay. We are adjourned.